Welcome to Full Throttle Vision with Tony and Jersky. Hello, everybody. It's our weekly podcast. We're checking in with Jeremy up in Ohio. Of course, it's summer. It's winter time. What's the temperature up there today, Jersky?
It's 35 right now.
35. That's nice and cold. But you know what?
That's
That's
warm
better than
for
it
us.
was.
Yeah, it's warm for
So
us.
we'll see if we can fix that little echo a little bit. But we are here. Guys, you're watching our video podcast right now. And we do this weekly. We're talking with Jersky. This week, we're going to bring on two people. We're going to talk, before we bring them on, we'll talk with Jersky for a second. But we're talking MMA fighting and stuff like that. What do you think about MMA fighting? Because you're a dad of a boy. I grew up with, I raised girls. You got a boy who's actually wrestling right now. And
Oh
wrestling
yeah,
kind
my
of
son
moves to this
wrestles.
MMA fighting kind of thing. How do you feel about MMA and wrestling? And would you let your kid get involved?
Well, wrestling's a big part of MMA. That's a lot of ground game and submissions and holds and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if my kid ever wanted to get into MMA, I'd support him 100%. He's a junior. He wrestles JV and varsity for his high school and shit. And out of watching all
You're
the
not afraid
sports
of
I
him
go
getting
to,
hurt?
man, nah, he's already folded a finger back a couple times. We had to pop it out during the thing. But no, no, he's my little meatball. He's tough. It's something he wants to do. I support him, 100%.
All right,
But yeah,
it's a good question.
he, yeah.
So I mean, my thing is, I gotta imagine that boxing isn't something younger kids are getting into until probably like after high school, and then you got to think that wrestling has got to be part of that. And then tough kids are tough kids. They probably just going to fight. You know what I mean? So wrestling in high school, I would imagine, pushes a lot of these kids to that boxing, MMA, kickboxing next step. Jeremy, we're going to bring in our other two people we're talking to. We're talking with Nico Brown from Nico Brown Promotions and Brandon. So I see that. Let's go, Brandon. And Brandon's with Vigilant MMA. How's it going, guys?
All good, all good.
How's it
Well,
going,
Brandon's got a
gentlemen?
little bit of a delay. Yep, there he is. Um, we have something coming up, and if we can bring up the picture of the Gill Dog 2 fights, it is February 3rd. This is a meeting between us three companies. You can see it right there. You have Vigilant MMA with Brandon. You got Nico Brown Productions, Full Throttle Magazine, and we're doing it at Gill Dogs. We did the first one, and let's let Nico talk about the first one. Then we'll get Brandon to talk about what's coming up. Nico, tell us about the first fights that we did at Gill Dogs and how that turned out.
Oh, it was an awesome turnout. I think we did at least 500-600 people out there. Everybody had a great time. We had about 8 or 9 fights, awesome fights. There was not one boring fight on the card, and that's very hard to do at any level. And whether you come to the show or you watch it on pay-per-view, you won't be disappointed.
True that. Now we're going to have a very high end pay per view this time to watch it. I was able to do the stage announcing, and I think Charlie and I are going to kind of go back and forth with that this time for Gill Dog 2. So we're going to have Charlie help us out with the staging because there was a lot of running back and forth. I want to kind of enjoy it a little bit too. Brandon, tell us about what's coming up for Gill Dog 2. And like he said, we had 8 or 9 fights. This card is off the hook. Tell us about Vigilant MMA and what we got going on for Gill Dog 2.
Well, so last time, guys, we had 8 fights, each of them highly competitive. This time, we're expecting between 16 to 20 fights, highly competitive. So we're looking at twice as many fights for the crowd and for the pay-per-view audience. We mix it up, so we're going to have some boxing, some kickboxing, some MMA, and we're even going to have some bare knuckle fights this time. Now, on the amateur level, the bare knucklers have to wear 4-ounce MMA gloves. Those are what the professional MMA fighters wear. So they basically just have 4-ounce MMA gloves over their bare fists.
And while he's talking, he's scrolling through the fight cards that we're looking at. And it's kind of cool because you could see these in advance. I know they're on your page. You could pick a favorite before you even get there, and know who you're fighting or know who's fighting and what they're doing. And this one, I'm trying to think if each one of these says if it's a bare knuckle or it doesn't say which one. But I love that you don't know what you're going to see next. It may be a kickboxing, it may be Muay Thai, it may be MMA. it may be bare knuckle. I think that's awesome that every fight is a little different.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we use different rule sets as well. So when you're early in your kickboxing career, we probably use a modified rule set. So there's more limitations, less chance of getting hurt. The more advanced you get, more rules and more
Uh-oh.
for violence.
So we're fighting
And we've
the
got a
internet
lot of
here
that
real quick.
lined up
There
on
you
this
go.
next show.
Now it's super exciting because Nico and I kind of got together. We're both promotion people, and we always said, "Man, we want to get involved with fighting and boxing." And we've talked about this, Nico, probably 10 times before we met Brandon.
Absolutely.
And then we run into Brandon, and we went to an event down in God, where was that? That was far, Fort
Fort
Myers,
Myers. Yeah.
Fort
Fort
Myers, or something
Myers.
like that. And that was a great fight with that. A really cool Coliseum, old school. That was a lot of fun. Jersey, have you been to any amateur fights before?
They usually throw them up here in like hotels and shit. Like there'll be a big hotel party, catered food and shit like that, and there'll be a couple like that. But no, I never been to nothing with as many bouts as he's talking about, like all them, 16, 20 something. Now this is like probably like six at the most. 6 fights, 6 cards for the night.
Now I know you used to go to Foxy Boxing, and that was something that they would do in the bars, right? That was just amateur, whatever drunk people get in there and beat the hell out of each other, right?
Yeah, originally started to get a bunch of half-naked drunk bitches up there bathing suits and shit and swimming pools and beating the shit out of each other. And then nobody did it no more. So then the guys started going up there and they started doing it. And that shit went on probably about for 4 or 5 years. And then now they can't do it no more due to some kind of insurance shit and something
Oh
else.
yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of cool.
Brandon, I didn't see a girl fight on this card. Is there a ladies fight on this card?
No, there's not, man. It's so hard to get
Damn.
girls committed to competing. And unfortunately, in the
Listen, we're
past,
men. It's hard to
we've
get
had
women to
a
do anything. Let's face it. We know this, all right? It's hard to get women to do anything, much less commit to a fight, you know?
but there are a handful of solid competitors, and we will get them active this year. I just couldn't get any matched up for this card coming up, unfortunately.
Well, I think that's those are a lot of fun. I kind of enjoy watching the women fight because they have so much to prove in there, and they go out there and they put. I mean, you can't give over 100%, but they give 195% in that ring and just try and do everything. So, Nico, tell us a little bit about like seating and ticket prices and when it starts and all that good stuff for this coming up February 3rd, which is what, 2 weekends away, 3 weekends away? I don't even know. Where are we at
It's
here?
next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Phew.
Next Saturday, and we'll be having the weigh-in the day before on Friday at Guild Dog. So I'll definitely let Brandon speak more to that. So that'll be an event in itself. But Saturday gates open at 3 o'clock. The tickets are $30 in advance if you get them online right now. If you get them the day of, they'll be $40 at the door. There are a few VIP tables left where you get table seating ringside, and a few front row seats left as well. You can get all that pricing at vigilantmma.co. And live DJ, live entertainment throughout the night, and multiple bars will be open.
Whoa.
The
I was
restaurant will
gonna
be
say
open
food and beer is
for
open there. You
yeah,
guys, you can eat. They got
absolutely.
everything available there. It's got with good food too, right on the water. It's a hell of a night. And with 8 fights, we were out there by 8:30, 9 o'clock. We were packing up with about 15, 16 fights. It'll go till 10, 10:30. So it's a night full of fighting and drinking and having a good time. And you go watch these fights, go home and punch holes in the wall. That's what you do, man. You go have fun. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. But
Absolutely. And
this is
Don't
seating
our
is
dog
forget,
limited,
fights
so
too.
seating is limited.
don't
So make sure
forget,
you bring your
guys.
lawn chairs.
Yes, yes. All general admission is standing room only, so they better bring a lawn chair.
So they're allowed to bring lawn chairs, yes?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, lawn chairs welcome. I see that over there. Okay. Giveaways. We're gonna work on something that I think with the 15 fight card, we can't really throw much in between. But I know we talked about maybe doing a bikini contest at maybe Guild Dog or Dog Fight 3 if we don't have so many fights on the card, which is awesome. And the pay-per-view. Let's talk about that, Brandon. Bring up this pay-per-view and what they're gonna expect with that.
All right, so at the first dog fights, I on my own, decided to try to take a cheap way out, and it backfired hellaciously. So we're going to bring in our proper production team. These guys are high quality UFC level production team. So anybody that orders the pay-per-view, it's going to be done through our website, vigilantmma.co. It's going to run live on our Discord channel, and it's only going to be $15. A lot of these guys are charging more than that, charging monthly subscriptions. It's just $15 flat for the month, and you have access to the Discord channel and the live pay-per-view.
I mean, let's say, face it, 15 fights, 30 people, family members going to want to watch it, and if we push the hell out of it, we get some people watching this. They're just going to think you maybe log in and watch it and see what's going on so you can see what's up from Ohio. It's only $15. You know what I mean? And
I'll
I mean,
check it out.
a dollar,
I
a
see
dollar
this.
per fight.
That's really $1 a fight. $1 a fight. You can't beat that, guys. I mean, and I'm telling you, if there's anything like the Markavian knockout fight, they were doing kickboxing, and Nico got a video and put it on the event page. If you go to Facebook and you look up the Gill Dog fights, go to the discussion and look down. There's a video on there, and I tried to get it off. Markavian's this little guy, maybe 5 foot. What do you think, Brandon? 5'1", 5'2"?
He's five. No. He's 5'5", 125 pounds of just chiseled
Of
monster.
muscle. I mean, he is muscle on top of muscle, and he does this kick. He kicks this guy, the guy in the head, the firefighter, I want to say, and just took him down.
Yeah,
And
it was a
I
firefighter.
mean, so quick.
And
He
listen,
kicked him, and
that
I was
clip,
like, it was,
guys,
yeah.
that clip is 12 seconds long, and it's already had over 7 hours of replay for a 12-second clip.
He does this little stutter step and then throws his foot up. I don't know how he did it, but it's so quick. It's boom, boom, bang, and the guy's on the ground. And I was like, I had to watch it 3 or 4 times myself just to see how fast that kick went from the ground to his head. It's pretty
So
good.
what's so amazing? What's so amazing, Tony, is if you listen to the audio, the coach in the corner, Crafton Wallace, former UFC fighter, he called for it. He said, "Go low, high, go low, high." So with his right leg, he kicked Ryan, the firefighter, in the leg, and when Ryan put his hands down to kind of block low, then he went high to the face, and that's why he wasn't guarding, and he took it right to the jaw.
No, it was that was probably the better knockout of the fight, and then he almost
Oh,
knocked
for
me
sure.
out because when I was interviewing him, he jumped on the top of the cage, and I said, what's more impressive is how you got up to the top of the cage. It was on top. I'm like, I'm impressed with the way you got up there. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna punch you, and I was like, yeah, he was funny. He had a good time with that one. A lot of great fights,
Yeah,
a lot of action.
Well, just wait till this next one, guys. We got twice as many fights, twice as many locals. We're going to have twice as many people. We're going to have twice as much action. We're going to have twice as many knockouts. Everything is going to be doubled what it was last time.
Now you talk amateurs. Are these all people fighting their? Are they first fights, or do we have like 3 or 4 under their belts? I mean, tell us about some of these fights. I know you're the man that sets them all up. Nico and I are the promotion people. Nico helps with all the boots on the ground and everything like that. I kind of do the marketing and advertising, and you're kind of the fight guy. So tell us about these fights. You know these fighters.
All right, so in the preliminaries, those are going to be your early fights. We have 7 fights lined up right now, and all of those guys are low record. They're either debut, 1 fight. I think maybe one guy has 2 fights. These are all of your greener starting out fighters, but most all of them come from reputable gyms, so we place them together with other reputable gym fighters, and they usually always, impress us right out the gate. Now, when you get to the main card, oh, and by the way, the prelims will be for free on our YouTube channel. So any of the fighters
Cool.
that are lined up on the preliminaries, their fights will be for free on YouTube. Once we move to the main card, that'll be the pay-per-view, and every single one of those fights are experienced fighters, most of whom are either in a position to get to a title fight or are in a title eliminator, or in our main event, it's an actual title fight.
Now you're a feeder group. We talked about this before. These fighters are getting their feet wet in this amateur fighting because we're straight up amateur, which means we don't pay the fighters. The fighters don't make any money. It's all amateur fighting. Now they've moved up. I remember at Guild Dog One, at the Fights One, Dog Fights One, I brought in 3 people that were already moved up to the next level. Is that correct, Brandon? They were multi belt winners. Do you remember Nico? They were. We had a couple guys that were fighting in different realms already.
I'll let Brandon speak to that one.
So yeah, we brought in some of our former champions. We brought in Rudy Isidro. He is now a professional fighter at 125. He was a two-time champion for us. And then we also brought in DJ Tice. He was former heavyweight champion who's now fighting pro bare knuckle. And then who was our third? Oh, and then in the crowd we had Trevor Thomas. Trevor Thomas is a reigning, defending 172-pound champion who is also a nationally recorded singer.
No kidding. See, I mean that's awesome. So you are actually building these guys up to get their first fights under their belts and move them up into the professional realm of fighting, whichever aspect they're doing, boxing, kickboxing, MMA. Did we lose Brandon or no? Okay, we'll keep going. But you can see
Am I
we're
still
going
there?
through the fights. There you are. You're back. But what I'm trying to get to is you're
Okay.
you're we're actually building these people to move up into this world of fighting. They're not just staying in this amateur realm and then they don't do well, they quit, they don't these people are moving on to bigger and better things.
Absolutely. We have about 14 or 15 professionals that are former either champions or fought most of their career with us that are now on the professional level making big noise. We had our first ever fighter make the Dana White Contender Series. That was Olivier Murad. He won, but he didn't get a UFC contract, unfortunately. And we have literally 10 guys that are on the cusp of getting that phone call. I think our most notable champions on the professional level right now are David Mundell, the redneck, out of Clearwater, Florida, at Shift MMA. He fought for us at Combat Quest 3, and he is now the Bare Knuckle FC middleweight world champion. And then we also have a guy, yes sir, that's David Mundell, former Vigil at Combat Quest number 3. Then we also have a younger guy named Nick Hawkins, who was our amateur middleweight MMA champion at 185. He's now 4-1 pro bare knuckle, and he's the BYB backyard boxing bare knuckle world champion. And the guy that he beat was the European champion, so he actually got the Police Gazette belt, which means that you're the overall world champion, not just for a single organization. So pretty cool that 2 of our guys are already bare knuckle world champions on the pro level.
Brandon, I have a hard time remembering the 4 names on the screen, and I don't know how you remember every damn name of the fighter that's moved on to doing all this shit. I'm sitting here going, how do you remember that? Now, Jersky, what's the best line when it comes to boxing? Now, I'm not talking Rocky, all right? There's a quote, from Mike Tyson. What's Mike Tyson's favorite quote?
Oh, it's pretty. What the one that I'm not saying that shit.
Everybody has
got
a plan until they get
punched in the face.
That's it. That is it. You didn't know that? Everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the face.
Yep. And I know a lot of teams, Tony. I know a bunch of teams. Well, I shouldn't say a bunch. I know a handful of teams that they never tell their fighters who they're facing. I'll tell the coach who the matchup is, and he'll agree to it. But they don't tell their fighters who they're facing because they just tell them to prepare for whoever is the UFC champion at your weight class. And if you're preparing for the UFC champion at your weight class, then you'll be ready for whoever you face.
That's cool.
So they ain't got time to go watch no tape or do nothing or learn nothing about their opponent. They just come out and squabble.
Right. And now the coach does the research. The coach does the preparation and looking at the opponent and game planning. But
knows how to
good
train
coaches,
to fight, yeah.
So they're training
Yes,
them for
sir.
that opponent, but they don't know who they're fighting that night. I got you.
Correct, correct. Because a lot of things, things can get into a fighter's head. Oh, this guy's undefeated. Oh, this guy's never been taken down. Oh, this guy's never been knocked
Oh
down.
yeah.
And then you start worrying about those things, and it throws you off.
Nico, fill us in a little bit more on what happens at these fights, seating arrangements. That way we'll get you involved. I know that the DJ does his thing, and fill us in a little bit more, Nico, on how these events happen and what time's best to get there and all that.
Well, it's definitely best to get there as early as possible because again, it's first come first served on the seating outside of the front row and the table seating. You'll have the ring in the middle of the event center, and we'll have the VIP tables around that ring as well as the front row seating there. Those are all available for purchase online. If there are any available the day of, we'll let you know at the door. Other than that, there are some seats outside of that seating, but again, that's first come first serve. Bring your lawn chairs. You'll be more than comfortable in them. You'll be able to see everything. There's really not a bad spot to sit where you're not going to see the action. It's just
Agreed.
the way the area is designed. It's almost a bit of a hill the farther you get away, so you'll have a little bit more of a higher point to see
Like
what's
a
going
pit,
on.
yeah.
Great,
And I'll tell you
yeah,
right now, if you
great
got a
lighting.
family or group of people coming and you don't utilize those front tables and buy that up front, didn't we got something in with that? I think you get an appetizer or something like that. But those up front seats, man, you get to see everything right up close, nice seating, table to put your shit at home, home base. It's worth getting those VIP tables. And what you said, we only had 2 or 3 left, Nico.
Yeah,
So it's
Yes,
it's
sir. We have
Yeah,
definitely
three.
see,
We have three. We have
3.
three
Okay,
see.
8-person and one 4-person. That's it.
what's that, Jeremy?
I said you can't go wrong with booze, barbecue, and brawling, man. That's gonna be a good time. I wish I was actually there, man. See,
absolutely.
it sucks being up here, fucking 35 degrees, cold as shit, snowing. I gotta watch the shit on TV, but I watch it. Hell yeah.
Now, let's get a little bit about biking. We're all motorcyclists here. When do you bust it out? Like, winter time's there. Do you bust it out at like 45, 50 and go riding and try and get some miles in your ski, or do you wait till like it gets hotter?
Oh, I don't ride when there's salt down. As soon as they put salt down, my shit's up. But yeah, it could be 35, 45. I'll ride as long as there's no salt. You want salt.
Oh,
So you
that
guys are
brine
used to that
shit.
shit.
Yeah,
You guys get the salt from the ocean. This shit's like brine and, fucking chemicals and shit. You don't want that in your
I'll
bearings, on your
fuck your
tires,
shit up.
in your frame, all up in your fins of your block and shit. Engine gets all corroded and shit. You gotta tear it all apart just to clean it. Fuck that shit.
that's crazy. Now, again, we're talking Dog Fights 2, February 3rd at Gill Dogs in Newport Richey, or in Port Richey. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to say Newport Richey, but it's in Port Richey. The doors open at 3, fight start at 5. We were here talking with Nico Brown from Nico Brown Promotions and Brandon Lee from Vigilant MMA Promotions. And then Jeremy, of course, with us from Toledo, Ohio. Now, that's February 3rd. Do you know what happens right after February? Man, this year, it's so early in the year. March 1st through the 10th is Bike Week, baby. Bike Week in Daytona Beach. And it happens quickly, started March 1st to March 10th. Right now, Full Throttle Magazine has, I want to say, 6 shows in 8 days. So 6 bike shows in 8 days. We're doing from Saturday to Saturday. Um, and we're going to be out there checking out some other shows and helping Corey Souza. We got Bagger Nationals. We're going to be out with the Bagger Showdown at the Cabbage Patch, back at the Grandview. We're going to be doing some new shows at Wing House. Of course, the Boardwalk Bike Show, one of the biggest and baddest bike shows in Daytona. We're shooting for 200 bikes on that Friday. I want to say that's March 8th. And then we do our kickoff show over at Teddy Morse. We got a lot going on. Now we bring in Jeremy. Jeremy comes down from Ohio for that show because, and believe it or not, you got talked about a lot this past weekend at Baker at Customs.
Oh no shit.
So I had a lot of people that we see in Miami. I don't get down to Miami for a lot of the area much. So going down to Baker Act, we got to do a bike show, and I was seeing all these people, and they're like, "You bringing in that judge again? That judge, I love him. He picked my shit apart, and I changed everything on my bike afterwards." I said, "Yes, I bring in a professional. IMBBA trained judge, and that's what you are, Jeremy. You're the International Master Bike Builder Association uh, unofficially trained judge, because we learned from Steve Galvin, who was an official judge. We're correct.
Right. Yeah, that
So
Baker Act,
you
man, they got some pretty nice shit, man. But that was Biketoberfest. That was a pretty tight week right there, man. There was some badass bike builders, man. Some badass
just wait
bike
for this
builders.
year. And nobody's
Right,
building new
right.
bikes in October. The new bikes are coming out now. So Bike Week, we're going to see. I know there's 10 people told me they got new bikes coming. So, and everybody's been showing off, these new builds that they got going on. So, but I mean, they got to come correct. We may give them all a T-shirt and say this is why I got second place.
Oh yeah.
So,
Second place. This is
Nico, think
why I
about
got
this.
second place.
We were going to make T-shirts. Now they've got some T-shirt equipment, and we were going to say, put a judge in it. We're going to say this is why I got second place, and put this on the back of a shirt, and put a bowl of spaghetti for their wiring, because most people's wiring is shit. You know what I mean? So when you come in second place, you get a shirt too that says this is why I got second place, or this is why I got second place in paint, and show a rattle can with an orange peel. You know?
Or
No.
here's another slogan. Here's my participation trophy.
Right,
That's funny
right.
too. That'd be good. We were laughing at some of the stuff we were coming up with, going, we can make some funny ass shirts for the bike show people that they'd get a kick out of. Yeah, I don't need a participation trophy, or this shirt's my participation trophy.
Yeah, like we were going down the
There you
line of
go.
everything that we judge all the bikes on, like paint, seat, wiring, body. And I was like, listen, dude, for the body one, we need to get some chick where she's all distorted and fucked up, one big titty, one crooked titty, all of her lines fucked up, and then be like, this is why I won second place. To show some distorted Picasso looking fucking chick, all fucked up because everybody's got their body lines all tore up, or their fenders crooked and shit, side cover gaps are fucked up, fenders all sideways and shit.
There's definitely some funny stuff to come up with. All right, let's call this a day. We're going to definitely see everybody. Hope to see you on our pay per view, Vigilant MMA or vigilantmma.co. Vigilantmma.co is where you're going to go to pay $15 to see the great fights. Or if you want to come to Guild Dogs, get your tickets now. $30 in advance, 40 at the door. 3 8 tops and 1 4 top left for tables. Buy those, and don't be stupid if you're coming with more than 8 people or 4 people. You'd be dumb not to steal those tables and at least have somewhere to sit and rest. We got, again, 15 fights. It's going to be awesome, Jeremy. I wish you were here, because I think you'd really get a kick out of these fights here, man. This is, on the
Well, it
level of
seems
where
like
we're
something
at being
cool, man.
amateur. It's we're trying to bring a professional level atmosphere to the amateur level style fighting, which is great, because I think Brandon knows these fighters. Nico and I are great at these promotions, getting the ball rolling and getting things done. And when it comes to putting it together, Guild Dog's been a great place. And we're the first one was great. Second one we're moving into. We're looking for other venues to move to. And of course, other venue areas. We get those fighters from those areas and get them in. So we're looking and getting this ball rolling. And I'm really excited about this. And I really enjoy doing this MMA and boxing and bare knuckle and all this fun stuff. It's a blast, something different for the motorcycle world, you know? Drinking and fighting,
Right.
Jeremy. Right? Drinking
Drinking
and
and
fighting.
fighting, man. Booze and brawling, baby. Bruise and brawling. No
All
boozing.
right, man. We will see you soon. We've been doing a bunch of live videos. If you're watching this and you didn't get to see any of the videos on our podcast, make sure you watch our live video podcast on our Facebook, website, YouTube. Find us, look up Full Throttle Vision. We make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. We post these as soon as they're done to our YouTube, and then share it everywhere. It's going to be on our Facebook, Instagram, TikToks, and then we're also going to put the podcast up just for audio. So if you guys can't find us, then that's on you. So let's just look up Full Throttle Vision. We will find. If you can't find us, you're doing something wrong. So Jeremy, take us out. Let's say bye to everybody.
Fuck yeah.
That's it. This guy. That's what I get from him. All right. You get the fuck gift from Jersky. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. We hope you guys enjoyed our show. I'm Tony C. That's
Zersky with
say
a
your
Z.
name.
Zersky.
See.